this is an iHeart podcast.
Looking for your next go-to smoke shop? Stop scrolling. I've got you. Headshop.com is the #1 online smoke shop, already trusted by over 100,000 happy smokers, just like you. They've got it all. Dab rigs, vaporizers, glass bongs, smoking pipes, even THCA flower, all in one place. Need a new daily driver? Grab a smooth glass bong or a classic smoking pipe. More of a concentrate fan? Their dab rigs, e-rigs, and wax accessories are designed for smoother, harder-hitting sessions. And yes, they've even got legal THC flower. Best part? Every order ships fast and discreet, which is why thousands of smokers keep coming back. So don't waste time hopping between shops. Shop the best in dab rigs, vaporizers, glass bongs, smoking pipes, and THCA flower right now at headshop.com, the #1 online smoke shop. Headshop.com has what you need. Check it out today. Oh, and because you're listening right now, you get 10% off your next order when you use the coupon code HSHOP at checkout. Go to headshop.com now and smoke smarter.
Welcome in, everybody. Tuesday edition of the Clay, Travis, and Buck Sexton Show kicks off right now. Day 21 of the shutdown. It's a real shutdown situation they are having here. We will get into some of the back and forth. Pretty straightforward. Democrats view the obstruction is what they used to call it when you didn't do whatever President Obama wanted. You all remember that? Obstruction is their only game plan right now, and if that means that they don't have anything beyond it, so be it. We can have a conversation about that. President Trump is doing a $250 million White House ballroom renovation, which most exciting of all is that it's just a matter of time before Mr. Clay Travis puts on his dancing shoes and shows you all the crazy, funky moves that he's got at some White House function. You know, he's gonna step on that dance floor, make John Travolta in his prime look.
I would just say for radio show hosts, particularly white guys who are radio show hosts, I would put myself in the top 5% best dancers. I don't know who else is actually really talented. And by the way, I'm not you. I wasn't practicing TikTok dance moves by myself in my apartment during COVID. So it may be the case that you're in the 1% or the 0.1%. But I don't think that radio show hosts are renowned for their elite dance ability. So I feel confident, much like when you came into the sports broadcasting, the press boxes, and I said, hey, it doesn't take a lot to be a decent-looking sports writer. I don't think it takes a lot to be a decent dancer in the radio world either.
Well, there might be forget a stake bet. There might have to be a dance on video, put it on social and TikTok bet at some point now that we got the White House ballroom going. But that's just part of Trump's renovation of the White House that has been underway. We've got that discussion. Hamas has broken the ceasefire. That is not a surprise to me. I would assume to any of you, Hamas is going to continue on doing what it does. It has not changed anything about what it is. And there's going to have to be a further reckoning. They cannot allow Hamas leadership to stay in place. There can be no peace with Hamas. That is what we are seeing. That is not something that, like I said, comes out of the blue for anybody who's been paying attention in the region. But we can have some updates for you on that as we go. Also, Judge Jeanine is taking it to the mat in defense of Mr. Big Balls. What's his actual name? I forget.
I know him only as Big Balls. So, there are worse things to be known as, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. But, yes, let me see if I can find his it's very funny what his actual name is. He was beaten up in the attacks. And
he's a great American. He stepped in to help somebody who's being carjacked by teenagers, mind you, a mob of them.
Edward Corstein,
there we go. AKA Big Balls.
Yes.
Judge Jeanine is having none of it. We shall discuss that. Karine Jean-Pierre is out there making the case for her book to people. I think all these Biden books, you notice, Clay, you're not even hearing anyone talk about Kamala's book anymore.
Kamala, you're the one who read it 107 days.
Yeah, that's called being a team player, Clay. Some of us are out there in the Grove or whatever at Ole Miss partying and enjoying football, surrounded by great Americans and beautiful ladies. Some of us want to gouge our eyeballs out with a spoon because we are stuck reading 107 days. So I'm just saying, there are those of us who are on the all expenses cruise and those of us who are taking grenades in the trenches on this one. Nonetheless, nobody is talking about Kamala's book, and Karine Jean-Pierre's book comes down to, I am so incapable of assessing what is going on around me that I really had no idea that Joe Biden had dementia. I really just didn't know. I almost think that's worse. I think it would be better to say, you know what? I believe that Trump is so bad for America that I was willing to be a part of a big lie. At least there'd be some integrity in admitting that. Pretending you are so out of it and really kind of dumb that you have no idea that. Anyway, well, we can get more into that discussion. I'm going to start with this. People are getting very testy over, some people are getting testy over the New York City mayor's race situation as the oncoming collectivist freight train of Mamdaniism is getting closer and closer to my beloved New York City. And Curtis Sliwa is staying in all the calls, including from a lot of New York-based commentators, Clay. A lot of people are saying, Curtis, look, it is you got to save New York from Mamdani. Cuomo's not great, but it'll be better. Cuomo's actually pretty awful. This is really trading an F student for like a C- student, I think is the fairest way to put it. Here is what Sliwa has to say about, first of all, Bill Ackman, a billionaire activist, centrist guy. I wouldn't say he's right wing. Here he is. Sliwa is saying that guy needs to go take a long walk off a short pier. Play 7.
Well, number one, Ackman is a jerk. Has he been right yet? Here's a guy who goes up to Newport, Rhode Island and thinks he's a professional tennis player. Come on, Ackman. Stay in your lane. Does he know anything about politics? No. Does he live in New York City? No. He lives in Chappaquiddick, the whitest suburb of America, where even the lawn jockeys are white. He may know Wall Street. He may know hedge funds. He has been wrong every step of the way with the billionaires. So let's say people come to the conclusion, if somehow I lose, and we know Andrew Cuomo's lost, he's already tossed in the town. Oh, it's because of you, Curtis. Really? It's because of the Democrats. Wait a second. Who created Zohran Mamdani? Who embraced him? Who nourished him? Who supported him?
Clay, he is not buying into the argument you have been making, among many others, for the necessity of his dropout. He's saying, look, it's all the Democrats' fault. I'm staying in it to win it.
He's not wrong about it being all the Democrats' fault. What he is wrong about is if he stays in it, all he's doing is guaranteeing Mamdani is going to be elected the next mayor of New York City here in 13 days. And I have made the argument, I really do believe this, that Mamdani winning is simultaneously the worst thing that could happen to New York City and the best thing that could happen to the rest of the country, because it makes Mamdani and AOC the face of the Democrat Party, socialist communist in New York City. And New York City, as nice of a place as it is, does not play well in all of the battleground states, the places where control of the Senate is going to be determined and the places where control of the House is going to be determined. So with that in mind, there is an argument that Curtis Sliwa was actually doing what is best for the Republican Party by refusing to drop out. I don't think there's any argument at all that he's doing what is best for New York City, because his continued involvement in this race, his continued staying in this race, ensures that Mamdani is going to be elected the next mayor of New York City. And then it becomes a case, Buck, of you just have to hope that Mamdani is so incompetent that he isn't able to implement the things that he has promised he is going to be implementing.
Well, this is my silver lining.
That's the only silver lining.
Is that he's so, unfortunately, I think Eric Adams had a similar but different problem in that he had some good ideas on public safety, but lacked the bureaucratic skills to implement them. Mamdani, it's a different problem. What he wants to do is bad, but he may be incapable of doing it. Here we have Curtis Sliwa continuing on. This is Hat Tip Nate Friedman podcast. I've never heard of Nate, but this is from his podcast. But here's Curtis Sliwa making his case, Clay, that this idea that all the Cuomo people, or rather that his people will just vote Cuomo, is also detached from what he sees as reality. Play 8.
And how dare you, people who know nothing about politics, suggest that everybody who's going to vote for me is suddenly going to be reborn. We love Andrew Cuomo. He killed all these elderly. He's a sexual harasser. He told conservatives and Republicans in 2014, if you're conservative and you believe in right to life and the Second Amendment, you have no place in New York. You need to leave. This is the result of the Democrat self-destruction. So I'm supposed to help them? How come they don't help themselves?
Clay, what do you make of that?
I don't disagree with anything that he's arguing. The question is Cuomo likely to be better for New York City, as awful as he has been in the past, than Mamdani? I think the answer is yes. Do I think that Republicans should have to save Democrats from the consequences of their own choices? No, I don't. And again, this is where I come back, and I understand we got a lot of WR listeners. This is where I come back to it can simultaneously be the best and worst thing for the Republican Party for Mamdani to win. I think it's the worst thing for anyone who is sane in New York City. I think it's arguably the best thing that could happen for anyone who is sane in the country. And this is why I've said sometimes you just got to let the island go under the water. Best case scenario, to your point, Buck, he's so incompetent that he can't actually change anything or implement any of his ideas. Worst case scenario, he does, and New York City, really, as one of the crown jewels of America, starts to reflect some of the same issues that we have seen happen in many of the top capitals across the West, which is all of the choices they're making are finally starting to catch up with them, whether it's London, whether it's Paris, you name the big Western civilization capitals. I think they're making increasingly left-wing choices that are bad for the overall populations there.
Part of the problem is that leftists have a much higher tolerance for inflicting pain on the masses than a lot of the sane people, us, realize, right? San Francisco should have known 20 years ago, hey, what are you doing? You're ruining a great American city. Now it seems they finally have a more sane mayor, finally. But it took way too long. I worry that something like that'll happen in New York. But here, just for one last bit of the argument, Clay, here's Curtis Sliwa telling Andrew Cuomo that it's on him to go out and convert Sliwa voters. Play 9.
Andrew Cuomo failed everybody in that primary. He even admitted it. Now he's basically saying, I can't win without Sliwa votes. Where are your votes? Why don't you spend your money? And he's got millions from the billionaires. Millions. Go out, get your own votes. Convert Sliwa voters. But for me to drop out, I represent a major party line. I have people running under me, council people, judges. They put their heart and soul into it. They support me. I have more donations than Andrew Cuomo does matching funds. So you know something? This is called voting. Sure. Since when do we not let people vote? Billionaires determine the next mayor? If they don't like it, they can leave. They have options. Blue-collar working class people don't. Those are the people I'm representing, not Andrew Cuomo.
Clay, his best argument, I think, is actually what he said about the down ticket on the Republican side, or rather the one that we hadn't really discussed here. And I do think there's merit to that. But he's also going to make sure that Mamdani wins this election. That's the problem.
A part of me makes me think he spends so much time attacking Cuomo. Has Mamdani promised him some sort of job? It sounds crazy. But is there something?
I don't think
is there something that Curtis Sliwa wants in terms? And I don't even think it would be bad politics from Mamdani. Why? Otherwise, why would you stay in? It then becomes almost entirely a vanity project. Maybe he hates personally Andrew Cuomo. Maybe they've had a relationship in the past that is particularly
a lot of people
toxic.
do. A lot of people really personally dislike Andrew Cuomo.
So he may not personally dislike Mamdani, and this may be personal on Curtis Sliwa's behalf. But again, in 13 days, the data is going to be out there, and I think you can look at it, and we'll see whether Mamdani wins a majority of this trio, or do the numbers reflect that if there had been a 1v1, Mamdani would have lost? Because right now, as we're speaking to all of you, Mamdani keeps setting new highs, Buck, in the likelihood of being able to be the nominee and to win this race. And so long as that continues, I think that we're in a really, really tough spot for the city of New York. Now, positive is there does seem to be some good momentum for Citarelli on the Jersey race. And certainly Jason Miyares and Winsome Sears, I think, have made up some ground in the state of Virginia as that race is going. But right now, you have a 93% chance in all of the sort of prediction markets that Mamdani's going to win. And if you think Sliwa's going to win, because we get these calls every time, you can 100 times your money in 13 days. So this would be one of the most epic upsets in the history of upsets. All of you should go vote. Don't listen to us. Make your voice heard. But I think the voices of New York are unfortunately going to be heard, and they're going to be putting a communist into office. Last night, I had the great honor of emceeing the Tunnel to the Towers charity golf event honoring America's heroes and their families. Great night. Stories about the people that this organization has helped. The men and women who defend our freedoms were incredible. People who stood up and told their stories last night, I got to meet all of them. They did a fantastic job telling their story. And since its founding in 2001, Tunnel to Towers has done all they can to help families that have lost their hero in the line of duty. Frank Siller was there, raising millions of dollars more to help make a difference. Your generosity has provided mortgage-free homes to thousands of families worried about the roofs over their head. The same generosity has helped severely injured combat veterans return home to live in smart homes adapted to their needs. The stories are as remarkable as your generosity. Tunnel to Towers Foundation makes this pledge. We'll never forget. So many of us echo the same sentiment. More heroes waiting and in need of assistance. Honor their sacrifices now and join us in donating $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Saving America. One thought at a time. Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. Find them on the free iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
There's nothing like sinking into luxury. At WashableSofas.com, you'll find the Anabe sofa, which combines ultimate comfort and design at an affordable price. And get this, it's the only sofa that's fully machine washable from top to bottom, starting at only $699. The stain-resistant performance fabric slipcovers and cloud-like frame duvet can go straight into your wash. Perfect for anyone with kids, pets, or anyone who loves an easy-to-clean, spotless sofa. With a modular design and changeable slipcovers, you can customize your sofa to fit any space and style. Whether you need a single chair, love seat, or a luxuriously large sectional, Anabe has you covered. Visit WashableSofas.com to upgrade your home. Right now, you can shop up to 60% off store-wide with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Add a little to your life. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
Welcome back in, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton show. We have got 13 days until the New York City mayor's race, until the governor's race in New Jersey, until the governor's race in Virginia. And I woke up this morning as one of the few people who still buys print newspapers. And I'm in New York City still, flying back home tonight. And the front page of the New York Post, Buck, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch, says, "Just walk away, Beret. Even allies tell Sliwa to drop mayor bid. Don't let Zoran win." And you know, you grew up in New York City. The tabloids don't have the same impact necessarily that they used to do back in the day. But as the conservative leaning tabloid, when the Post puts the Republican mayor nominee on the front page of the paper and says, basically making fun of him, get out of this race, you have no chance of winning. The pressure on Sliwa to drop out continues to rise. You grew up in New York City, Buck. Do you think there's any way Curtis Sliwa drops out, or do you think at this point, 13 days out, it doesn't matter? Because early voting starts, I think, in a few days. If he's not going to drop out in the next couple of days, it's over.
I don't see him dropping out at all. And I see Zoran Mamdani as the next mayor of New York. I'm just basing this on the polls and all of the... Now, can we also just... People say, well, what about the polls with Trump? Polls can be wrong within 3 or 4 points, and in a presidential election, that makes all the difference. It's very rare for every single pollster to be wrong by 30 points.
Yes.
There's a difference, okay? That just to get this, because I'm seeing you guys are anointing Mamdani. I'm not anointing anything. I'm the one who thinks it's insane that Mamdani could become the mayor of New York. I'm the one who wants to do whatever we can through this election process to make him not the mayor. But unfortunately, the numbers are the numbers. You're talking about an 8-1 Democrat to Republican city, and no variation of the numbers coming even close to a Cuomo win, even if, with Curtis Sliwa staying in. There's no variation that I've seen that does that. The thing that makes me pretty sanguine about it all, Clay, not as sanguine as you, sir, but sanguine about it all is I don't think Cuomo would be good.
Yeah.
I maybe not insane is not the same thing as good. I think he'd be a very bad mayor in some respects. People keep talking about the COVID thing. He was the no bail, no jail guy. It was Andrew Cuomo who was like, you know what? Let's let that maniac out who just punched the old lady on the subway. Let's let him out even though it's the 50th time he's been arrested. Nope, no bail. That's the Cuomo routine.
This is where blue cities leave themselves with no real option. Andrew Cuomo, who was one of the worst governors during COVID, is now the savior, supposedly, of New York City, which is why shining light in a dark room, potentially 13 days from now, I think it's going to help Elise Stefanik in the governor's race, and I think it's going to help in the midterms for both the House and the Senate. Look, if you're trying to save some money this holiday season, take advantage of Pure Talk's cell phone service pricing. Without a doubt, it's the best value in the wireless biz. The average size family of 4 can save over $1,000 a year when they switch from big wireless companies to Pure Talk, because Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, plenty of data for just $25 a month on their lightning fast 5G network. Plus, right now, they'll take an additional 50% off your first month. That's immediate savings you can take immediate action on. And if you make the switch right now, you can save an additional 50% off in the first month. Here's how you switch. You can keep your same phone number and your same phone. Just say just dial pound 250, say Clay and Buck. That's pound 250, say Clay and Buck, and you can save up to $1,000. Pound 250, say Clay and Buck.
People ask us all the time how we can save the next generation.
We've got our show, and the info is an antidote, but we also have a couple books coming out, Clay.
That's right, and you can pre-order both of them right now and be book nerds just like us.
You'll laugh, you'll nod, and you'll get smarter, too.
Mine's called Balls, How Trump, Young Men, and Sports Saved America.
And mine is Manufacturing Delusion, How the Left Uses Brainwashing, Indoctrination, and Propaganda Against You.
Both are great reads. One might even say they would make fabulous gifts.
Indeed. So do us a solid and pre-order yours on Amazon today.
Welcome back in, Clay Travis Buck Sexton Show. We are going to be in Indiana tomorrow as we span the globe, span the country.
Fort Wayne, baby. Fort Wayne. Here we come.
Yes. So we are looking forward to seeing many of you at WOWO's 100-year celebration. That's a pretty impressive thing. So we're going to be in Fort Wayne, Indiana tomorrow. We're going to be meeting a lot of you in that area. We look forward to that event. And if you are listening to us in that region, well, maybe you will see us as we are rolling through. All right, Buck, you mentioned it. You leave me and you have no idea what might come on. I thought I was making the least controversial argument that's ever taken place. Let me reiterate what happened. This Chicago area teacher, I'm sure you saw the video, Buck, as the No Kings protests were going on, a Trump-affiliated car is driving by, to Turning Point USA driving by, and this elementary school teacher celebrates by putting her hand to her throat as if she's mimicking the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Disgusting.
I mean, really. And
psychotic, disgusting stuff.
And I said, as a part of the argument, that, look, I'm a free speech guy, but there is a morality component to being an elementary school teacher. And you can be fired for violating that morality component. And as an example, I said, for instance, I think most people would not want their kid's elementary school teacher to be a stripper. And I can't believe it, but we have been deluged by people that actually disagreed with me. Here we have a wide variety. Some of them are very funny, but I thought we could play some of these talkbacks. And Brandon, I also said, by the way, that there's a middle ground, right, where if you worked as a waiter or waitress at Applebee's, I think that you could clearly probably have both jobs, right? A lot of teachers have multiple jobs. Maybe you work in the summer when you're out of school. And I said, but Hooters might be more of a middle ground, right? Like where people could agree or disagree. Brandon in Michigan says he'd go to a lot more school activities if his kid's teacher also worked at Hooters. This is BB Brandon weighing in.
Travis, I'm just going to say, if my kid's teacher worked at Hooters, I'd probably be a lot more interested in going to conferences and going to school activities.
All right. Thank you, Brandon. And then Ken in California, he's fired up at me. My opinion that you can't be a stripper and an elementary school teacher. He's mad. He says, hey, Clay, you're wrong. CC.
You know, you can't be for the First Amendment and boobs and give this teacher criticism over her First Amendment right for expression. Yes, it's abhorrent. Yes, it's tacky. Yes, it's despicable. Hate speech has still got to be protected speech, whether we like it or not. And I don't like it, but she did it, and it's not against the law.
Clay, I'm gone for 1 hour.
I know.
Okay, you have the keys to the car solo, and our entire inbox today is about boobs.
But I mean, I am of the opinion, I said this on the show, I think, Buck, you would sign off. Like, if we employed someone on the Clay and Buck show that celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination, I believe in the First Amendment. The First Amendment doesn't mean that there aren't consequences for your behavior. And if you are a public school teacher, elementary school, I don't think you should be teaching kids if you are going around publicly celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. That's my opinion. I wouldn't want my third grader, I wouldn't want to walk in there and know that she had been at a No Kings protest doing celebratory gestures having to do with Charlie Kirk's murder, because I would think that would influence her teaching.
To all the people who are saying this about that teacher, for example, but it's always situational with leftists. They want what they want, how they want it, when they want it. There's no principle. There's no rule that we can all be held to. And I just give you this. If Jimmy Kimmel or if this teacher had been shouting a racial slur, racial slur that you're never allowed to say, would we be hearing about free speech arguments? Would they be saying, oh, but you know, it's free speech. You're allowed to say that. No, you're not. Right. So where is the line here? The line is what is abhorrent to the people that you are either serving, in the case of a teacher, the community you're serving, or to a very unfunny late night talk show host who's representing a broader corporate brand. And this is true of anybody, I might add. You don't get to make a free speech argument. If you walked into Initech while you're working for Lumberg and you told Lumberg what you really think of him when he's like, would you come in and work on Saturday?
Great movie.
Great movie. And you started just dropping all kinds of curse words and telling him what you really think of him and his stupid suspenders and the whole thing, and he fired you. You don't have a First Amendment argument. I just feel like people intentionally confuse this thing now, where you are entitled, if you are advancing leftist ideology in some capacity, the First Amendment means you have an ironclad right to not be fired from your job or have there be any consequences for it. Then people will say, well, what about when the cancel culture stuff? The cancel culture stuff was unreasonable and irrational firing of people for saying entirely valid and normal and things that half the country agrees with.
Yes. And look, again, I think that public school, elementary school teachers, which are being funded by all of our taxpayers, I don't think it's too high of a standard of behavior to expect that you're not going to be in public celebrating a public assassination of a figure. And so I think if you did that and Rachel Maddow had gotten shot and you were a super right winger, which I don't think people would even really celebrate it, the consequence on the same side, you shouldn't be celebrating political assassinations and making a living teaching young kids. And I don't think that's a crazy
anybody
opinion.
who's defending anyone who is defending this particular teacher who made this abhorrent gesture, if that teacher had walked, if that teacher was walking the streets with a, George Floyd got what he deserved, he was a convicted felon drug addict, written on her teacher, would any of them be making the case that, that's okay, free speech? No, they would not.
Yes.
They would all be saying, oh, but it's the racism and the bad things, and they can't be corrupting the mind of the youth and all this other stuff. This is why I found the Jimmy Kimmel argument, which ties into this too, just absurd on its face. It's like he said something that pissed off a lot of people. He doesn't have a First Amendment right to keep that job that he has forever. There are a million things. Not only do we have FCC regulations here on radio, there are a million things that if either of us said, we get into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Really, it's, have you betrayed your audience, right? Or have you betrayed a large enough portion of your audience with what you've said or outraged them with what you've said that you cease to be able to function as somebody who they can trust and who is still a viable show.
Well,
right? I mean, this is the real, what was happening on the other side in the cancel culture wars was people were creating a fiction that there was outrage at somebody. This happened to Rush, outrage at somebody for something that was said. And then there were actions taken based on the lie that this was actually so outrageous.
Yeah, look, I think if you went back in time and you were looking at the Jimmy Kimmel thing, the FCC weighing in, I think actually made it a bigger story than it would have been if nobody had weighed in at all on the government level. Because then they said, oh, well, this is government pressure and coercion. Look, the reality is he missed 4 days. And now he's back on the air, and there is virtually no discussion about this. But
that also tells you there was no real fear of government coercion because
Correct.
They wouldn't have just put him on the air a few days later. So that was a pretext.
The whole thing was, again, that's why I said if you didn't say anything about Roseanne or Gina Carano when they were canceled at Disney, which almost no one did, we talked about that quite a lot, then I don't understand how you decide that Jimmy Kimmel is the line in the sand that you will draw. I mean, the ACLU getting involved and everybody else. But yes, your bigger picture point is an important one. The government restricting your speech is what you should be concerned about. That's actually what Alex Berenson's lawsuit, which I think is still pending, is about, because that's what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden went to Facebook and he went to Twitter and he went to YouTube, and they threatened. They said, if you don't take down these posts that we don't like relating to COVID, there's going to be a punishment. And now everybody suddenly is circling around and saying what you and I said for a long time, which brings me to cut 28. You remember, Buck, in New York City when Kyrie Irving refused to get the COVID shot in Brooklyn? And they wouldn't allow him to play in the games, but they would allow him to sit in the crowd courtside. Do you remember that absurdity of COVID?
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't let him play in the game, but they would allow him to sit on the court and watch the games. That was the line that they were drawing at that point in time.
I remember being in line for the Columbus Circle, New York City Whole Foods, peak pandemic time. And they were enforcing with Prussian efficiency 6 feet of distancing between people standing in the line.
Yes.
And then you got into the place. You got into the Whole Foods. And it was absolutely mobbed with people like shoulder to shoulder in all the aisles and everything. Unlimited time to shop, do whatever you want to do. So outside where you actually cannot spread the virus.
In open air,
6 feet of distancing. Inside, shoulder to shoulder with worthless masks on. And, this is all you need to know about somebody is a public figure, as a leader, as a commentator. How were they during COVID? It was the stress test in all these respects. which just brings me full circle to Cuomo. He was awful. He was as bad as Gavin Newsom. He was as bad as Gretchen Whitmer. He was absolutely terrible. In fact, I think you could argue he was the worst because he really set the tone of panic and authoritarianism alongside it that then all these other states followed because New York got hit first.
And here to close out, to tie in all of this, as the story has altered, Stephen A. Smith, ESPN's most prominent employee, now says, hey, Kyrie Irving was right. He should have never taken the COVID shot. And they came after Kyrie Irving. They came after Aaron Rodgers. They came after everybody who was in athletics that refused. And I do give a little bit of credit to Stephen A. because he's now pointing out that Kyrie was right, whereas most people out there are still saying nothing at all. Cut 28.
Kyrie's a good brother. We used to butt heads because he missed work too damn much. And I'm like, yo, man, this brother's electrifying. I want to see this brother dancing on the basketball court. I don't want to hear no about no COVID vaccine. Get your ass on the court and he see you. Now, obviously, in hindsight, the brother right because we see all the conspiracy theories that come out and props to him for having the foresight to see that. We didn't see that at the time. And then, but you also I have to understand, I'm living in a world where you got cats making 38, 40, 45 million. You got GMs and owners complaining about it. And you got billionaires looking me in the face and saying, yo, Stephen A., I took that damn vaccine. Who the hell are they not to take the vaccine? And we're living in a country where the government was imposing all of that on us. So I'm sitting there going like this. We all taking the risk. Kyrie said no. Props to him, but I didn't view it that way.
So he was right. Most people won't even acknowledge that Kyrie Irving and Aaron Rodgers and other prominent athletes who said, I'm not going to get the COVID shot, were in fact correct. But it's just one of very many things that, to your point, Andrew Cuomo, who is now supposed to be the savior of New York, was 1 billion% wrong on.
He was terrible. This is why I can't get that energized about the anything to defeat. I think Sliwa probably feels this way too. I haven't heard him say this, but we're supposed to go and break out, and break the glass, do anything we can so that Andrew Cuomo can be the mayor.
Yeah.
He's horrible.
Yes. I get it. I think he hates Cuomo. By the way, we are right here. I am in the New York City studio with our team, and producer Allie is wearing her Cozy Earth cashmere sweater because she says that we keep it too cold in the studio here. I got to be honest. We have these Cozy Earth bamboo sheets. I don't know if you have them on your beds yet, Buck. They're unbelievable. They are so.
We got them on the baby crib too. Because they make a baby crib sheet. It's phenomenal.
They are so nice. I don't even usually notice sheets. These are unbelievable. They are fantastic. If you haven't checked out the website, go to CozyEarth.com and find out what would make sense for you. COZY Earth.com. You're going to love them because they're durable. 100 nights you can try it out. What do you have to lose? Try them for 100 nights. They've got a 10-year warranty. If you don't love them, you can send them back. Upgrade the place you spend the most time, your bed, and you will get 20% off right now if you go to CozyEarth.com with my name, Clay, as the code for 20% off. That's CozyEarth.com, code Clay. Be sure to let them know you heard about us here on the Clay and Buck Show. That's CozyEarth.com, code Clay. One more time, CozyEarth.com, code Clay.
News you can count on, and some laughs too. Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. Find them on the free iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
There's nothing like sinking into luxury. At WashableSofas.com, you'll find the Anabe sofa, which combines ultimate comfort and design at an affordable price. And get this, it's the only sofa that's fully machine washable from top to bottom, starting at only $699. The stain-resistant performance fabric slipcovers and cloud-like frame duvet can go straight into your wash. Perfect for anyone with kids, pets, or anyone who loves an easy-to-clean, spotless sofa. With a modular design and changeable slipcovers, you can customize your sofa to fit any space and style. Whether you need a single chair, love seat, or a luxuriously large sectional, Anabe has you covered. Visit WashableSofas.com to upgrade your home. Right now, you can shop up to 60% off store-wide with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Add a little to your life. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
We also have Trump just speaking a few moments ago. As you know, there's and the team pointed this out to me, privately funded renovation, really a remodel, a demo and remodel of the East Wing of the White House to accommodate a ballroom that is, some people are saying, going to be the most fabulous ballroom of all ballrooms. It's going to be spectacular, I'm sure. And this is President Trump speaking about the West Wing's history and more. Play 30.
This is, as you see over here, the Presidential Walk of Fame. And we had this long wall with half windows because that used to be a swimming pool on the other side of the wall. That was the swimming pool where Jackie would say, "I hear women inside. Are women inside?" Quite a famous, I'm not saying anything, this was a part of a movie. And the Secret Service said, "No, ma'am, there's no women inside, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am, you're going to have to move along. But I hear women inside." "No, ma'am, you'll have to move along, ma'am." So that was the famous swimming pool. Now it's even worse. It's for the media. They covered the pool up. And now it's for the media. And I think we have a small representative group. I don't think they allowed the rest of them. I can't believe it. What happened? They're all on the other side of the wall. Can you believe it?
That is one hell. So the story, should I tell the story that Trump is telling? I guess I have to tell the story that Trump is telling, Buck.
I think you do.
These angry emails are Buck Sexton's fault. So word is from the White House historian crew that back in the day, JFK, as soon as Jackie Kennedy would leave the White House, would roll in girls and they would have naked swimming parties in the White House swimming pool. So if you think Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky was scandalous, what Trump is referencing is that they would have skinny dipping sessions when JFK was president with girls that they would bring in. So that pool's now covered up, and it's where the press goes. But that is a accurate, so far as I have heard, a historical rendition that Trump was referencing there. Probably did not expect that would be the opening of the third hour, but that is what Trump was just talking about.
JFK and Camelot and all that stuff is a pure, the same way that they went with Biden doesn't have dementia. It was a pure fabrication of the Democrat-aligned media, and not just then, but a continuation, perpetuation, because it created this Kennedy dynasty, so-called dynasty, that led to someone like Ted Kennedy, who let a woman drown in the back of his car. Right? These are the kind of people that the Kennedys brought us in politics. And wasn't there like the red-haired guy who was going to be the great hope of the Kennedys, and he gave some like sweaty-faced speech after you know what I'm talking about. There was a young Kennedy, a member of Congress. He was going to be a member of Congress or something.
Patrick.
Yes, that sounds right. Yeah, basically they're a Democrat brand and they're protected as such. But if you actually look at the conduct of JFK in the Oval Office, in the White House, and as a person, he was also a very sickly guy, needed a whole bunch of different controlled substances to get through the day. This idea that he was this strapping, handsome, all-American guy and all this is all, I'm just saying, it's all a fabrication.
Yes.
This is all stuff that was fed to people because there was no, it's different. You didn't have the constant media cycle. You didn't have so many people that have not just access, but are able to use their own methods of capturing information. Everyone walks around now. Think about it this way. When Kennedy was actually president, Clay, the press had a fraction of the access and the ability to create content that every single one of our listeners right now does.
Yes. I mean,
Think about that.
No, the evolution. I mean, look, and it wasn't just Kennedy, right? They pretended that FDR was not in a wheelchair. I mean, that's maybe one of the most staggering complicit related media aspects. They pretended that FDR wasn't actually needing to be pushed around in a wheelchair because the press was asked to do so. And
well, they also got away with Woodrow Wilson's wife running the White House
Edith.
for the last
Edith was basically the
so.
president of the United States because he had such a bad stroke.
I also think that we didn't talk about it that much. I think that same dynamic factored in with Dr. I love that we all call her Doctor and Dr. Jill Biden. I think she recognized that her frail husband meant that she was in a more powerful role than a first lady
certainly
could or should be generally. So that was a part of it. But let's get back to Trump here, what he just said about this, or what he was just saying. He spoke about the shutdown all along. There has been the things that the shutdown has made possible as part of what the White House can do. It's a great refutation of the No Kings rally, I might add, right? The government is shut down. The king can't just open the government. Well, because he's not a king, as we all know. It's such a stupid rally, a stupid name. It's just not good. But back to what Trump is saying about the shutdown. He talked about Russ Vought. And here's what he says about this individual and his cutting and the prioritization underway. Play 32.
I will say this, that we have Darth Vader. You know Darth Vader, right? Darth Vader is a man who, I think he's sitting right. Is that Darth? Stand up, please, Darth Vader. Stand up. Does everybody know? They call him Darth Vader. I call him a fine man. But he's cutting Democrat priorities, and they're never going to get him back. And they've caused us, and they've really allowed us to do it. And by the way, thank you. You're doing a great job, I have to tell you. So, really a great job. Because many of the things that they're cutting, like the New York project, $20 billion, we're cutting it. They're not going to get it back. I mean, they're not going to get a lot of things back. They may not get it back. Maybe we'll talk to them about it. But they're losing all the things that they wanted. But many of the things that they wanted are things that we don't want. Things that are just so bad for our country. And we're cutting those things out.
Clay, Russ Vought is the head of OMB, Office of Management and Budget. And they're able to get in there with the scalpel and cut some of these government programs because of the shutdown. So
yes.
another component of this.
Not only that, it is just not registering in any way that the government shutdown is still going on. I understand that some of you out there are going to have to get back pay. If you're in military, Trump is saying that he wants to make sure that everybody gets paid. Again, they're going to have a press availability for the Republican senators that are all at the White House right now. And we're scheduled to talk with Marsha Blackburn at the bottom of the hour. So we'll hear what President Trump said. But I just think that they are in such incredible difficulty here because they didn't want to shut down. They didn't want to bend the knee before the government protests, before the No Kings protests. And now a part of me thinks, Buck, that they may think this is advantageous for them on some small level in Virginia and New Jersey and two close governors' races. Maybe it motivates a little bit turnout. I don't know. But I think the idea that there was going to be some mass rallying effect to the Democrat side has certainly not been reflected in the polls, and it hasn't been reflected in the reactions by and large, as most people have just kind of said, yeah, there's not a lot to this.
Well, here is, since we're talking about the shutdown a little bit, the latest explanation of this that we get from Chuck Schumer, who is really, it is the Schumer shutdown. I mean, this guy more than any other is responsible for where this is. This is cut 12. Hit it.
We enter another week of Donald Trump's government shutdown, and Republicans seem happy not to work, happy not to negotiate, happy to let healthcare premiums spike for over 20 million working and middle-class Americans. Our country is staring down the barrel of a healthcare catastrophe, and Republicans will spend this week either vacationing or holding pep rallies at the White House. It's been over a month since the House of Representatives even took a single roll call vote. That's shameful. That's derelict. Government workers must work without getting paid. House Republicans get paid without working.
And yet, it's the Schumer shutdown. He can say whatever he wants about it, Clay. I don't think that's going to work. I also think that the more they talk about health care, hold on a second. Obamacare was supposed to make everything cheaper. Why do we have to shovel billions and billions of dollars into Obamacare to make it even temporarily seem solvent.
All of us are paying way more than we were told we would ever have to pay for health care to a large extent because Obamacare has failed. And this idea that your insurance was going to be cheaper or you were going to have more flexibility when it came to your doctors, it has been proven to be, I think, a complete and total lie. And so everybody out there who is dealing, and I think it's all of us, when you have to go to the doctor and you get back your bill and you say, how in the world could it possibly have cost this much? Or how can my insurance premiums have risen to the level that they have? Obamacare has actually made, as many people argued that would be the case, everything more expensive and worse than it would be if we had never fiddled with it at all. And in fact, it kind of ties in with this. I can't believe I'm going to give him credit here. What Jon Stewart said about Bernie Sanders. The Democrat solution is always subsidies. And when the government causes endless funds to be spent, Jon Stewart's actually making sense here. Prices rise. This was cut 15.
The Democratic solutions have never been to directly provide. It's always been a subsidy to a middleman. But what happens is when the government promises endless funds to insurance companies or private universities without any cost controls, and Trump seems to understand this, prices rise far beyond the rate of inflation. And we've seen it in tuition, and we've seen it in pharmaceutical, and we've seen it in healthcare. So my question is, will Democrats recognize the poison pill that they've often placed into well-intentioned policy?
Right. They don't understand basic economics. And I think to Jon Stewart's credit, he's elucidating that Democrats don't understand market-based policies and get all of their prescriptions wrong, which ends up costing us all more.
Let's play the Bernie response to that. On the other side of this,
you're going to have Bernie Sanders. It's going to be like, but the more we spend comes from the millionaires and the billionaires.
It's going to be something like that. There's going to be some nonsensical.
I like your argument. I think that is likely to be proven true.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I'm just guessing. But economic illiterate Bernie Sanders is going to have some foolish thing to say, and you'll stick around with us and you'll hear it. Gold has never been more valuable than it is this month. Whether you're watching the increasing price of gold or not, it is up 60% year to date. And we've got the better part of 70 calendar days left where it could keep going up. Who knows where it's going to go? That's why I recommend you talk to our friends at Birch Gold Group. If you're thinking now's the time to purchase gold for the first time, good for you. Your timing is excellent. Birch Gold Group makes you this offer. Buy gold from them this month and get free silver. For every $5,000 purchase from Birch Gold Group this month, in advance of Veterans Day, they will send you a free patriotic silver round that includes the American and Gadsden flags on it. Birch Gold can help you own gold by converting an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Plus, they'll send you free silver honoring our veterans on qualifying purchases. A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, tens of thousands of happy customers, many of whom are listeners just like you. I encourage you to diversify your savings into gold. Text my name, Buck, to 989898. Get a free info kit. Claim your eligibility for free silver with qualifying purchase. Again, text my name, Buck, to 989898 today.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. Mic drops that never sounded so good. Find them on the free iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is an iHeart podcast.